Welcome to episode 36 of the Global Exclusive Podcast. I'm your host, Hazard. I'm joined this week by Baros, Dream, Muspel, and Shadow. Cotton is out this week due to daylight savings shenanigans, as usual. So we may be missing podcast members every episode for the next few weeks until we get this all resolved again and daylight savings stops its reign of terror. So this week we've got the Final Fantasy 12 banner with Gabranth, who I honestly did not believe would ever come to global, but here we've got him, a new Neovision version of Gabranth, so we're still missing the old one. We've got the NVA Awakening of Balthier, and we've also got the Ray of Hope himself, Larsa. So we'll be talking about those three units. We'll also talk about Dark Visions a little bit, and then we'll get into some new mechanic ideas for Gumi, who seems to have really run out of things to do that are new in the game. So without further ado, let's get started with Gabranth. I know Muspel is especially excited about Gabranth finally coming to global. So could you talk to us about his kit and his place in the meta?
This is the wrong Gabranth. This is not the one I wanted.
It's like the meme. It's like the meme with the mom, like, oh, I want a Gabranth. We do have a Gabranth at home. Gabranth at home.
Now, in all seriousness, this Gabranth actually is a better unit than the old one, but he doesn't have the STMR that I wanted. So this Gabranth is a physical tank, like the old one, who is also a defense-based damage dealer, again, like the old one, and he's better at both of those jobs. He is absurdly tanky. It used to be that the tankiest physical unit in the game was Hallowed Age's Charlotte, and Gabranth is over 4 times tankier than her.
So what you're saying is this is how you do power creep.
Yes,
in an NV.
He has over 10 times the effective health of Galoof.
Yeah, I mean, like, they did the Cecil formula as well. Like, he has... Yeah, sorry. This is about the kit. Go ahead, Muspel.
There's not really a whole lot to say. I haven't calced his damage yet. I don't think Shadow has either.
It's not great.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's like he's an NV. It'll beat most 7 stars. Probably not Kuja. It'll probably beat Yoshi, at least with some levels of gear, depending.
I do think there's probably some potential there for punching above his weight class because he's defense scaling, so he can ignore survivability gearing. I mean, like Yoshi, like Schwen did.
Yeah.
Except this is on the other side, but yeah.
So he's got defense scaling attacks. His AoE cover has a 70 to 85% mitigation for himself. That's the highest we've gotten by a fair amount, isn't it? I've only seen 60 to 80.
Hallowed Age of Charlotte has 80 guaranteed.
80
Yeah,
guaranteed.
on the limit burst. But yeah, his cover mitigation, that's like a big part of why he's gets that kind of effective HP.
Yeah.
Because you consider like min rolls and stuff for that.
He's also got 75% damage mitigation that he can spam every turn if he wants to, although that eats half of his actions.
One third.
Half.
Oh, if you get his
I
triple.
think
Yeah, if you get his triple up.
his triple cast is only turn 1, isn't it? Yeah, it's just turn 1. Though you'll also get it a turn after you Brave Shift each time.
But
So
I'm not
that's
sure
something.
that going into his Brave Shift is a good idea.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
haven't really looked at the passives. I guess I don't know if his Brave Shift is noticeably squishier.
It looks similarly tanky, but yeah, I haven't double checked. It's more just pure defense based. There seems to be less HP, but there's still some.
Yeah, you could probably just shuffle some gear around for that, though. Anyways.
Yeah, so you can Brave Shift around and still have like very tanky stats in both
and
forms.
he's tanky enough to start with. I would imagine he would probably be fine.
Yeah.
So my question is, what makes him 4 times tankier than Hallowed Age's Charlotte? Like, what is it? Is
His
stats?
defense is bonkers. He has over 4,000 defense. I had to kind of fudge the numbers a little bit because his card isn't in the builder yet, but it's a lot of defense. And then he also gets higher HP. He has higher physical mitigation than Charlotte does. Like, if you give them both the same external support, like if you give them both Renora's buffs or whatever, or Yoshi's physical mitigation buff, then the gap would be a lot smaller. But even then he would be significantly ahead of her.
Yeah, and I mean the 75% self-mit, that's kind of like doubling things right off the bat. Though, I guess, were you considering H.A. Charlotte guarding? Because...
No, I was not.
Okay, so that would close it a bit as well. But still, he is very thick.
Even with his 50% mitigation, he still has over double her effective health.
Yeah.
And about 8,000 more HP.
And then on the team support side, because he's not entirely selfish, he can pretty easily maintain both 50% general and 45% physical mit for the entire party. And then he has his 3-use Grandis for AoE 80% phys mit for a turn, which can be really handy for thresholds. He can buff fire and dark resist, which, because it's not full uptime, I don't know how useful that is. But his defense and spirit buffs are pretty solid, even if they're not full uptime either. And then there's like emergency breaks, I guess.
Yeah. I think he's not like Cecil, because Cecil does a lot of different stuff. Gabranth does like 2 or 3 support things, but the big one is the physical mitigation, and he's very good at it. And I think it's one of those things where I like a unit that's very specialized in that respect. Now,
and you like him thick.
Yeah, Muspel likes thick units that are specialized.
Now, the problem with Gabranth is that he's a physical tank, and we don't really get fights to use them.
No, I just wanted to say one thing about him. So you can't really maintain a physical mitigation at all on your party unless you have the EX1 version of him, though. I just wanted to mention that.
Yes, you can.
No, that's not true.
Wait, you can't?
He has dual cast.
Yeah.
And it lasts 4 turns.
Oh, shit. No. I'm just an idiot. He actually has that ability in his normal form as well. No. Never mind.
Perhaps is just blind.
Yeah, I'm just blind. No. It's good. He's actually... So what I actually wanted to say before was, like, I think this is a decent unit when you pull him without EX1. And then I saw the physical thing, and then I was confused. But okay, he is a decent unit if you just pull him. You don't have to EX1 him.
I'm impressed that it only took 36 episodes for Barros to come to full self-realization.
I mean, I literally outed myself as an idiot in like the first 2 episodes at least.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't have the audio clip of that.
Dream still sends me that audio clip from time to time.
Just to put you in your place.
Yeah.
That just shows how much I listen to our own podcast episodes.
Yeah. I want to say one last thing about Gabranth, though. And that's that, like, I actually do think he is not a great unit to go for, because if you're not an evasion supremacist, like Muspel and Hazard, it's like you don't really need physical tanks in this game. Like, we all know it's evasion tanking.
It's the opposite of evasion supremacist. Evasion supremacist would be if you think evasion is the greatest thing, and that
listen, Mr. Librarian. Calm the fuck down, okay? We all know what I meant.
Anti-evasion supremacy.
Anti-evasion
Bulk supremacy.
Gabranth supremacists.
Muspel, you should know better than to interrupt your enemy while he's making a mistake. All right, so let's move on to Dream's comment.
I was just saying, basically, in summary, he is a good unit for a bad role.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
I would not suggest pulling for him. I did it, but that's because I like to do fights the hard way. And he might be useful.
So you like
big man.
He might be useful for those someday.
So he likes big, thick, specialized units.
Yes.
Hard.
Thanks, Paris.
We needed that.
Gabranth is the king of the flexitorium, which is what I named the spreadsheet where I calculate tank effective health.
All right, that's the last thing I want to know about that. So let's move on to Balthier. And Shadow,
there are screenshots of their huge.
Muspel, let it go.
He won't stop. Somebody stop this man.
He's too aroused by Gabranth.
Balthier is a physical BS chainer.
I didn't get to finish my sentence.
Yeah, he's pretty BS.
To introduce Shadow to introduce Balthier.
Were you trying to contain or constrain Shadow's love for Final Fantasy 12? Because I don't think that's going to work out for you.
But Daddy Balthier. All right. Before we move on to Balthier, I just want to go back to Gabranth's sprite because I think they did a lazy job on his Brave Shift. Because you could just literally take off his helmet and show Gabranth, not in his judge uniform, and that would have been a perfect Brave Shift. But no, they just got him shifting into a different stance. Same with Balthier here. Balthier's sprite was pretty lazy in my opinion. And
yeah, he actually got the NVA treatment because NVAs just shift into a different stance usually, right?
Yeah. I don't know what happened with Balthier. It's almost as if Alim doesn't like FF12 and just...
Gumi and the rest of the world.
I think it's just
Fuck off.
Is there any point in Final Fantasy 12 where Balthier does look significantly different?
Yes. Well, but it's near the end game, so I guess the joke here is that
Final Fantasy 12 units usually have this dress up scene or this where everyone changes costumes at least once, but I don't remember that in FF12 actually.
I feel like in FF12 what they could have done with at least maybe not Balthier. Now that you think about Balthier, Balthier's always in that outfit. So I guess they could have done that.
He never washes his clothes.
What if they put him in Fran's outfit?
Oof.
That'd be hot.
That would be hot. Or a Fran Balthier dual unit.
Or at least Van's outfit.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah, let's go.
So about the kit, Shadow, is there anything else besides BS chaining in his kit?
He does lightning damage. Guys, that's cool, right?
Sorry, about his sprite, I just want to say that Balthier's sprite is just as zero effort as everything else about his kit.
Yes, that's true.
People love units that do lightning damage.
That's unfair. Remember when Balthier first got awakened? He was actually meta for a time.
Fuck you.
You mean when the RNG was full on RNG that day?
The leading man who had no fucking idea where he was going because it was always random.
Yeah, exactly. But when he hits really fucking hard. I remember that. Although unfortunately he doesn't have that anymore.
So you know all your hits really hard?
Well, depends, I guess.
No. Kind of disappointing. That pretty much sums up his damage.
Yeah, calc-wise, he's around DV level, maybe slightly above Dark Veritas, something like that, right?
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah, he's a PS chainer though, so that is something to say for anyone that pulled Elena and might have a Balthier. Now you have a supporting chainer for Elena.
That's really the best we could say about him.
I am really trying, Shadow, for your sake.
Yeah. Now you have a chainer that I guess I guess he can imbue can't he? I think.
Yeah, he has a few other elements other than he has water and light, but he can only 75% Imperial for them.
Yeah, but if you're pairing him with Elena, she has the 130%.
Oh, true.
Yeah, no. Then he can use whatever his.
And you,
yeah.
I guess you can still kind of roll for the trick weapon Imperials that you have to wait till turn 2, which is gross.
Mm.
Just
just a great job all around.
Yeah, the early days of 7 stars were very experimentative, and early days of NV are always going to be like this. So,
well, according to Sinzar, who lives in fucking JP, he says that it's still like that it's very hit or miss with the NVAs. Some NVAs are great, some are just meh. I don't.
Yeah.
If Balthier is your only chainer, and you haven't pulled an NVA yet, and Balthier is he's gonna be great. So let's not be blinded by the NV meta yet either.
It's NV level damage, but it's the bottom of NV level.
Yeah, kind of.
I was complaining about this earlier today on Discord, but I don't get what the point of this is, because no new players can't really pull for Balthier. You would need at least 5 copies of him for him to be good. So they're not going to do that. Veterans probably already have an NV unit, so they're not going to use him. So what was the fucking point of spending time designing NVA Balthier?
Hey, Muspel. So, until one day ago, Balthier would have been Dream's strongest chainer. Just saying.
No, we had Aerith.
I've had Lauren, Aerith, Tifa.
Okay, never mind then. Yeah, no, that is a point. That is a good point. I'm thinking that just for nostalgia alone, since Balthier is so old as a unit, they should have made him better or given him something unique to kind of reward the players that have 5 of him, right? But yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
if you remember a little unit we like to call Beatrix, they don't do that. They don't reward you for having cool older units.
Hazard is still so hurt about the Beatrix nerfs.
It's because this is their game plan. This is what they do. And so Balthier, who's a really awesome character, probably the best one in 12, and one of my favorite of all time Final Fantasy characters, just is done no justice. So, but it doesn't surprise me. That's what they do.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the worst thing about Balthier, is that this motherfucker shows up every fucking time I'm looking for an Imperil unit in the builder, and he shows up for the wrong fucking reason because it's bullshit trickshot that keeps showing up. I hate that.
So
You don't have a better Imperil source?
No, but when
it's-
you're searching in the builder for 120%
Oh.
Imperils, his ass
Oh.
will show up. That's the thing, like always.
Yeah. So I have a theory about Balthier. I think he might have been planned as another LB unit, because you look at his Brave Shift LB, and it has like an okay modifier, but then he has nothing to support it. I think they got scared after Tifa.
Yeah. It's the basic NV level limit modifier.
Yeah, but I
That's just
feel
sort
like
of the start
like
line.
gun LB finisher is kind of a thing.
I mean, yeah, it works with his natural gearing.
That would have been so cool, though. That would have been so cool if he was a gun LB finisher. Come on. Like, why
Yeah,
did
but
they
if it
stop
was-
doing finishers?
But if it was so cool, Alim wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Rigoro said something interesting in the chat yesterday, which is like, yeah, you can use Yoshi and turn him into an LB finisher, but I guess you can do that with fucking any unit.
Basically, and like his base mod is not high enough for him to be notable at it compared to other people using the same setup.
Yeah. Although, well, I mean, like Rain and many others do have their own LB buff, so he would get something unique. But the thing is, he has the same mods, though, so it really
Yeah,
does nothing.
exactly.
Like, if he had a mod of 200, then we would be talking, but yeah.
Would be a bit more than talking.
Yeah.
All right, so if that's all we've got on Balthier, the next unit is 7-star Ray of Hope Larsa, who, when you first look at his kit, he's got a bunch of interesting things. So I wanted to have Baros see if you could decipher this kit for me, because it's got all over the place.
Yeah, when looking at Larsa, I just keep asking myself, what the fuck is this unit? So, okay, so technically, he is a buffer that has general, or not general, typed mitigation, right? So if you...
He is general as well.
And general.
Yeah, okay. Calm down, guys, calm down. Okay. So first of all, yeah, he can do 200% defense spirit buffs while maintaining 35% typed mitigation for both magic and physical. And on top of that, you get light and dark resistance on 80%. That's nice. It's only for 3 turns. You're going to be spamming that pretty often. But like, he does have that out of the box. You get a pretty strong defensive kit, I guess. But aside from that, like, maybe they were planning him as a barrier spam bot where you're going to be doing first your buffs, and then you do your LB, and then you do another round of buffs, and then you do like
I mean,
his cooldown,
that's exactly what he is.
and then you do his LB, and then you do another round of buffs. It sounds like the most boring shit ever.
He's
So-
Eurasia.
Yeah, he's Eurasia, but with a much clunkier kit, and it sucks.
He's Eurasia with stronger barriers, but less offensive potential. And he also has like some weird healing shit bolted on.
Yeah, he doesn't have stronger barriers. Like, well, okay, yeah, he does, but like not the next turn. So like you still have to calculate with 3k barriers. I mean, he's okay. So he's a decent unit for like full defensiveness. I don't know. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me a bit of like Sweet Luca when she gets her unlock, kind of. But the thing is,
Really?
he's just gonna be doing that. And you know what's a shame? Like, he has these abilities that are named like items. And they have like, he has some healing, he has some revives. He could potentially be an interesting unit, but they fall a bit short. And I keep coming back to the fact that he only has 3 turns on his buffs, so it's like not really reliable as a healer. And if his abilities were actually items, it would actually be pretty cool, because we do have some equipment that increases item efficiency. And that would have been pretty nice.
I mean, I want to say, yeah, he has 3 turns on his buffs, but the abilities are very, like, compressed. Like, in 1 turn, he can apply 200% buffs, apply both type mitigations, and buff 2 resists. Because one skill applies a resistance and a type mitigation and a stat buff.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But it's 3 turns. So like if you want to use him as the,
but
the
you
barrier
do that,
bot,
and then you use his LB on the next turn.
yeah,
And then you have a
and
turn
then you
free
have
to do whatever you want.
no, you don't, because you have to do the buffs again. Because like on the turn after that, you want to do the CD, so you can do the LB after that. So it's like, yeah. I mean, his rotation once you get into it is probably going to be like CD, LB buffs, CD, LB buffs, literally.
Yeah, but then he has a free cast on the LB turn to do something with.
No, but he has the buff on the turn after the LB, because the LB gives barrier on the turn you do the LB,
Yeah, but
and then on the next turn.
Yeah, but he can dual cast something with the barrier cooldown.
Oh yeah, that's true. He can do like a remove all status effects
Like
from all
I'm
enemies.
not saying he's an amazing unit, but I think he's somewhat comparable to Eurasia.
Yeah, I mean,
He's kind of usable.
I mean, he's comparable to Eurasia if you like took half of her kit out. Then sure.
I don't really agree. There's not a whole lot that Eurasia does that he doesn't. Like, she has imperils and like some weak killer buffs, and
If you took away Urasha's offensive support,
Yeah.
But in exchange, he has some healing stuff. He's got.
He does have a perfect dispel. That is something to note, though.
He's got a perfect dispel. He's got some pretty significant MP restore. I don't think his MP restore is going to be good for like the GLX MP drain bosses because his stuff costs a lot of MP. But if it's single target drains or something, he can really do some work there.
But I mean his yeah. Yeah, no, I have nothing. I'm sorry. Like,
I think we're reaching it.
I was gonna say something about his support chaining abilities, but no, I just can't. Like, he has the same problem that Serena has. It's like that. Thanks to the short cooldowns, he could have been a great unit, but thanks to the short cooldowns, you're really not gonna do anything other than maintaining his main role, and that's what makes him a bit mediocre.
That is true, but he's good at his main role. It's not like he's doing barely anything and then he does nothing else on top of that. He's doing something that's useful, he does it well, and then he doesn't do anything else, and that's fine.
Listen, Muscle, why do you keep railing on my favorite units? What the fuck, dude?
I'm just trying to give people a ray of hope.
Yeah.
Oh, nice
work. But listen, but I just want to say, imagine if Larsa's abilities were flagged as items, meaning that they would benefit from
meaning that they would fail no items missions that we see on like 90%
of no, you know what? But that is fine. But what if they would be buffed by all the, increased item efficiency things? Wouldn't that be cool?
How many of those actually exist, though?
Too many.
Yeah,
really?
On equipables, I'm not sure. There's a lot on units, but I don't know how many.
We have a robe. We have an accessory at least. I know that much.
There's a gun.
Oh yeah.
There's a gun. Just the way you said
isn't that from the event
picture?
It's Godria's STMR.
Yeah, Godria's STMR. Okay.
I can picture like that gun shooting out potions, and it's like stronger than regular potions because you shoot it from a gun.
Yeah, it's like it hits your face, and then you like really absorb it.
That's how it works in Final Fantasy Tactics. Basically, the chemist can wield guns and throw items.
You could very easily get 600% item strength.
That would be so cool. Like, imagine him restoring like 3k MP to a unit.
Wait, sorry. Rem's STMR is stackable. You could get 800% just from materia slots.
Oof. 4k MP from a single ability. That would be pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
Do we know if there's a cap on it? I'm not sure.
We clearly need to test this.
I mean,
it's so viable.
This is very.
It is incredibly viable. Yes, like because Larsa could, instead of healing 10k to all allies, be healing for 80k to all allies.
That might fully heal Gabranth in a turn, guys.
Speaking of equipment, though, one thing I have just noticed that could be quite kind of neat is his TMR gives a counter that's an AoE flat 50 mana heal, 50 MP heal. So that could be useful on like with the aforementioned mana drain, because and you just like stick that on a tank, and then everyone gets a bunch of free MP each turn.
Especially since it also gives 50% MP, which will help you have MP left after a drain. 50% MP on a materia is not that common, I don't think.
Yeah, that's like the level of the parameter award for MP.
I'm not
like
sure.
The
I'm not sure
second
there's
tier
anything
one.
with more. I mean, that's not to say it's like, oh wow, look at how amazing this item is, because it really isn't. But
Like it's MP.
yeah, MP is one of the worst stats, but still, it's a lot of it.
Yeah, so that could be niche use, and then like I guess his STMR is kind of made for if you want to deal damage with Gabranth, but it's also just like a decent support healer weapon.
Yeah,
whatever.
I think more like people aren't really going to use it much on Gabranth because they won't have Gabranth, but
No.
for
Exactly.
but for supports, it gives dual wield and it gives a bunch of bulk, and you can't ask for much more from a weapon.
Yeah.
And you can put High Tide on it with item weld as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he can give you solid equipment that'll get more use than the actual unit.
Like this is the kind of thing I want to see from a 7-star in the NV meta, which is a unit that's
TMR.
a unit with relevant TM and a good STMR, or a not entirely useless TM and a good STMR.
So just saying, like, literally saying they are the 4 stars now.
A unit that's usable and you don't feel terrible when you pull them.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I do feel terrible with Larsa just because I know. To me, it means a lot when a unit can do many things, even if the many things are not meta. Like, I understand you and me must be a bit different because you really like Larsa because I get it. His actual defensive capabilities are meta. They are very strong. But like, I want my units to be able to do many things at once because that makes it fun to build teams. I don't know.
So what you're saying is that Muspel likes units that are thick and chunky
Hard.
and hard, and you like them various kinds of flavors.
Yeah, I can like do any type
God
of unit.
damn it,
Thick,
Shadow.
soft, long, short. You know, like it's like even thin. Even thin is fine. You know,
Okay.
Oh boy.
my number is on most bathroom stalls in the country, so hit me up.
I would believe that in a second. Sweden beware. In any countries that Barros has visited.
Yeah, I literally know how to
you
say
that
my
is
phone
a
number is
dark
in
vision
every
review.
language in the world.
So this week I don't really have anything like new to discuss as far as actual content. It is funny that Dark Visions has a whole lot of players at rank 1 right now. I have not done Dark Visions, and yeah,
But do you think
like,
they're going to do something about it? Like the fact that there's a lot
I
of
doubt
players on rank 1?
I don't
Well,
Because
how
there
would
are
they
two
do the
things. I
like-
mean, did you guys talk? I mean, there are two things people are talking about, right? One is, will they enable so that the second place is not place 1000, right? Because
No, I don't
that's what's
think so.
happening now. Like, if you're not first place, you're going to be at least, like, the second best player in the world is going to be place 1000, not
So-
getting the second place rewards.
I don't see why that's an issue because they're not the second best player. They are the 1,000 and
Yeah, how's that an
500th
issue?
best player.
there's no difference to me.
Yeah.
That's just how rankings
And I
work.
want to say this has happened a lot in JP apparently, where there was a tie for first place between many people, and they
Okay.
just let it slide. So
All right. Yeah.
JP have also had like 2 Dark Visions events that have been like horribly bugged, and they have given everyone rank 1 rewards. So I don't think that's a big deal.
Like, I haven't been tryharding for DV since this DV. Like, or sorry, not since, but I haven't been tryharding for the last like 3 or 4 DVs at all. And I had to do it this time because like everyone was getting rank 1, and then in the end I was like,
Yeah,
Jesus
basically.
Christ!
This was my one chance to get the pretty rainbow badge.
Wait, you get a badge?
yeah,
Yeah, you get the
Yeah.
emblems.
Oh my
for
god!
the
People are gonna
placings.
think I'm really good at the game.
No, they won't.
nothing could make them think that.
I mean, like people that don't know me could think that when they see me like in arena or in the friend list.
Your reputation
Well,
precedes you.
congratulations.
Like some random 12-year-old that just downloaded this app, got like $40 from mom to buy some units. He sees my banner, he's like, "Wow, this dude ranked 1 in DV."
And then he'll say, "Wait a minute."
How the hell is this new player going to know what DV and what specific emblems
Listen,
are?
this is a very well-informed 12-year-old. He reads Reddit. He isn't on Discord though
Yeah.
because he doesn't know me,
See,
but he
you
is on
just
Reddit.
contradicted yourself because you said he was well informed, and then you said he reads Reddit.
Yeah, I didn't say FFBE blog though. I said, yeah. Okay.
All right. Assuming we take your story as accurate, he would probably see your name and go, I swear I've seen that name in a bathroom stall somewhere.
He would.
For a good time, call 555-6969.
Yeah, he actually has it on speed dial. Actually, this 12-year-old. No, Jesus
Okay,
Christ!
hold
No,
on,
we're
hold
going
on.
into way too
Hold
long.
on.
Hold on.
Okay,
Hold
the fuck
on.
on.
We made a huge
Never
mistake.
mind.
I've got a phone number for you. It's called 911. Someone please call it.
Well, actually, you're always supposed to
FBI,
call 911 in
not me.
life-threatening situations.
Baros is the living embodiment of the Blob Patrol emoji in Discord.
Yeah.
Barris does not represent the opinions of the Global Exclusive podcast.
Or anybody who playing FFBE for that matter.
It reminds me of a comedian who says, sometimes you really just don't want to be specific. Like, you can say, I love kids, but you can't say, I love 12-year-olds. And Baros has broken this rule.
Yeah. That's actually a great joke, though.
It was well received.
Yeah.
All right, so anything else about DV?
Well, I have a question. So, did everyone cap of the hosts? Oh, well, I mean, except Hazard, obviously.
Yes.
I think everyone who's doing DV has
I did,
now.
Dream did, Barrows did, I don't know if
Cotton
Shadow
did.
did. Cotton
No,
did,
wait.
yeah.
Or is
I think
she did? Okay, because she was saying she was waiting to see.
She
if
did.
She was
I just
gonna-
checked. She's at the top of my friends list in the rankings because of
Nice.
whatever double
Oh.
sorting algorithm they use.
Yeah, it's weird. Like different people have
Yeah,
different
I wonder
lists,
what the
right?
sorting is.
Isn't it like that? The different people have different lists.
I'm not sure.
I need to check mine.
not
Who's
sure.
who's top on my list? Actually, it's Cotton too. Fuck you, Cotton.
Yeah, I think it's some
Maybe it's
kind of
alphabetical?
internal ID that they use to sort it.
No, it's not alphabetical.
Yeah, it might
Because
be-
Dream is below me.
It might be
If
by
it was
player ID
alphabetical,
or
then
something.
Barrows would be above Cotton.
Yeah, exactly.
And people would change their name to be at the top of
Oh.
the main leaderboard, and it would be very obvious.
But I'm above both Muspel and Sinzar on my list.
Wait.
so, hey.
Did Baros say, no, it can't be alphabetical because Dream is below Cotton?
No, I said Dream is below me, which is also wrong. But,
Okay.
it was the heat of the moment.
That's just as wrong.
Yeah, I know. It was the heat of the
If
moment.
anything, it's worse.
I see.
Thanks for catching that.
I just
Hazard.
wanted to make sure I understood correctly.
It was worth it.
My brain did a weird thing because I had Avnim, Yuvnim, Uwinim. Yeah, I don't know.
Nimwu backwards, or Minwu backwards.
Minwu backwards, yeah. Below Dream. So that was what I wanted to say, but my brain, or above Dream, and then my brain misfired. So, see, my brain is still misfiring. It's too early in the fucking morning. Fuck you all. Also, call my number.
No.
696969.
Let's.
You must
let
be
that
at
go.
least 21 years old to call this number.
I mean, technically in Sweden, 15, but
No,
yeah.
21.
But do not
No.
call it ever. But if you would hazard your life on this for some reason, be at least
Is that
21
a
years old,
self-plug?
please.
Self-plug.
Self-plug.
Oof. Now we're talking.
Damn it,
Can
Shadow.
you do this on video, Shadow? With a Sharpie,
Hold on.
preferably?
All right. Stop your nonsense. We didn't hear from
Oh
Shadow.
my god. What has happened
Shadow
to this
Cap TV?
episode?
I haven't played FFBE in a bit.
Oh my gosh. Me and Shadow have both quit the game.
F in chat.
Yeah, F's in
Yeah,
the
F
chat
in
for
chat.
me and Shadow.
So
I
speaking,
wonder how many people will listen far into this and realize that 2 of the 6 podcast hosts no longer play FFBE.
Wait, I've got a segue. Speaking of people getting bored with the game and wanting to see new stuff,
Yeah.
Let's talk about...
We can talk about new mechanics because I just think
Listen to me. Now listen very closely, Gumi.
Don't listen to him. Just in advance.
Elena, Freyevia double unit. Let's go, motherfuckers.
gosh.
Imagine that
I feel
shit.
like I've been violated, but I don't know how to put it into words.
You don't have to put it in words. You have to put it... No, never mind.
No. All right, so let's get back to what Muspel is actually talking about, which was new mechanics
I
in the
think that's the
game
first time
that
you've ever
would
said that.
help revitalize it. Let's get back to what Muspel was saying.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard you say that before.
Well, usually, oh,
Normally it just
yeah,
keeps going, so we don't need
usually
to go back to
Muspel,
it.
you get in whatever you want to get in.
That's what...
No, gosh. Usually Muspel can speak for as long as he wants and will just run over anyone else. So I never have to say, hey, let's let Muspel talk, because you just handle that yourself. But this time, please, for the love of all that is holy in this world, continue this discussion and not the one Baros is going to continue.
So what we're going to talk about is I kind of feel like trials have gotten somewhat stale, and I think part of the problem is that Alum and Gumi have kind of painted themselves into a corner in terms of like what units can do. There's not a whole lot that they can make a boss do that isn't just either something you can recover from in a turn or completely ignorable. Because you can undo basically anything a boss does with one or two actions. So all they can do is make a boss that just kills your entire team constantly. Or they make the boss have a bajillion health or whatever. So I think we've talked about this before, but I think that one of the best solutions they could do is just add like a new debuff or mechanic or something that drastically reduces all healing done. Because if you suddenly heal for like 90% less, then damage that you take actually matters, even if it doesn't kill you.
Yeah. Do something like I actually have this. So, does anyone here play Arknights? No.
Silence.
Okay. So nobody does.
I'm trying
because
is that the one where you fuck tanks or the one where you fuck boats?
No, you don't fuck anything in Arknights. Jesus Christ, Arknights is actually a very nice and decent game. All right. Although the ads are becoming a bit Azure laney lately. Anyway, Arknights has a very interesting mechanic that ties into a lot of the things you're saying, Muspel. Because yes, like trials could be very interesting if you would apply like a 80% healing debuff, MP regen, like nullify MP regen, etc. Stuff like that, right? And Arknights has this trial mechanic where you kind of get to select what handicaps you're going to have for the trial. And you get to select as many as you want, and every handicap gives you a number of points. And clearing the trial with a number of points handicap, right, gives you different rewards. So imagine in FFBE, if you would select the 80% healing debuff handicap, the no physical multicast abilities handicap, the no MP regen handicap, and the no cover tanking handicap. And if you clear the boss with like the amount of points of handicap you had there, then you get the top reward. That would be very cool, in my opinion. Like I would love that because that would actually make some really interesting fights.
I wonder if maybe it could work sort of similar to the mission rewards we have currently for like no healing, but instead of just choosing not to do them, you
That's actually a good point.
Enable them in advance, and then each one could have its own reward.
Yeah, that's a good point. They wouldn't even have to like
having.
Yeah, they wouldn't even have to like do a big change in the game to do this. They could just do like either quests, like special quests that we get, like the story revisit stuff, or as you said, like win conditions.
I think it would probably be pretty hard to implement because I don't think they have all the abilities tagged properly. Like, they can't just say no healing because they would have to know which abilities are healing, and I don't think they have that.
Yeah, they would have to implement the heal.
Yeah.
They would also have to implement the mortal strike effect as well. Like, kind of reduce healing needs to be implemented. But the thing is...
That might not be that hard. Like, they have a zombie which lets them reverse healing. I would imagine it's not that hard to just make it not heal.
I mean, nothing of this should be hard, I guess. Like, it's just quickly to implement, but or should be in a system like this. But I don't know. I mean, thing is, imagine like, okay, so the 80% healing debuff, the healing debuff handicap would probably also reduce the boss's damage, right? It would probably do something like similar to the boss, so the boss doesn't wipe your team anymore, but it becomes a battle of attrition instead. It would be so cool. So cool. Just saying. Like, no chaining. Imagine the no chaining handicap. And like, you can't do any chains at all. You just have to. And fuck that. Wait, didn't JP just get a unit that chains with itself?
Yeah, they've got tag chains now with the duo units, which like thematically makes sense. But yeah, they can sort of self-chain.
Another thing I was thinking of is another game that I play, Puzzle and Dragons. Like, all of its endgame dungeons are multiple floors. And even though you can one-shot a lot of the floors, they do like preemptive mechanics that might affect you for the next 4 or 5 floors. So in FFBE, I don't think that works as well because...
you want March of the Beast, you sadist.
Well, in FFBE, a lot of stuff resets every time you go to a new stage. But if they made it so that like it spawned new enemies when the monster died instead of going to the next stage, and the enemies applied debuffs or something to you that kind of stuck around, then it wouldn't just become about burst. It would be about maybe stalling out some of those effects or finding ways to overwrite or dispel or deal with them.
Yeah, we could have like an endless tower even type of event if like you don't get, the fight doesn't restart between every wave.
And also, like, your cooldowns wouldn't reset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dream, you had something to say?
Yeah, well, I had one idea that was more for like a specific fight and pretty basic, but like I was thinking of one where like say the base stats basically change over time and it like loses defenses and gains attacks. So basically at the start of the fight it's really tanky, so you can't burst it down that well, and like but then as time progresses, it gets sort of more offensive.
Just like me.
So then, like, if you... basically. But if you try to build too defensively, then you will be eventually overwhelmed before you can kill it. So you have to get, like, an actual good balance between defense for early fight and...
Did you just design another Tifa fight?
Not too late.
They've done something vaguely like that. Demon Wall, like, with its preemptive buffs, was vaguely reminiscent of that, but I think you're talking about a more comprehensive version.
Yeah, that kind of works.
Would be cool though.
Yeah, and with like buffs, it's like there's only so much you can do with it. Like, yeah, it would need like base stat changes. I mean, you could kind of do it with undispellable buffs of like just being reapplied each turn, but I don't know. It would probably be quite tricky to like find the right balance, but I thought it'd be a neat idea. And then like some form of area effect is something I've thought of in the past, and that's now kind of a thing. If they actually like make use of it well.
I think if they give enough unit area effects, then having bosses apply nasty area effects could be another interesting way of doing things. Because going back to what I was talking about with Puzzle and Dragons earlier, a big part of what you do in that game is like a boss might preemptively apply an effect that reduces your healing by 75% for 10 turns, and if you want to try to stall it out, that's going to be really rough to heal through. But if you have an ability that gives you a recovery buff, it overwrites that. So you have a lot of units on your team that can overwrite the enemy debuffs with buffs that do the opposite thing, or even just shorter versions of the same debuff, so that instead of 10 turns, you lower your own recovery for 1 turn, and then you're fine after that. And if we saw that kind of thing, like enemies apply long-lasting, nasty area effects, but then you use a cooldown, and your area effect overwrites it, but then you don't have that cooldown for however many turns.
Interesting, but that would still require them to do the whole thing about,
multiple enemies in a row, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, without resetting the fight, but actually like carrying stuff over. Yeah. I just would like to see like me also being forced to use my roster in a bit of a different way. Like I know I'm one of the few, but I also really enjoyed the Chamber of Arms fights. Like I enjoyed the 10 fight, the 10 unit fights.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. It's like I hated them, but there's a lot of people that seem to like them a lot.
Because like I mean, my whole thing. Okay. Taking a step back, what is FFBE to me today? Because obviously the trials are easy. We have fucking Tifa. Why, oh why do we have Tifa? I mean, I love that Tifa is strong, but also why? So it's like, it's not like trials are challenging. So FFBE in essence is a nice unit collection game, like any gacha, right? But the problem with FFBE is I don't really get to use my units. And that's what they should be working towards content that gets me feeling good about the units I have pulled, feeling good about the units I have. Like, give me a trial that has me needing to use weird stuff. Like, I don't know what weird stuff would be, but just something that makes me use my units.
I mean, I guess that's sort of the idea behind the Chamber of Vengeance, or Chamber of the Vengeful.
No, but not quite. Yeah, it is, but it's not quite, because like that's still...
Yeah. It's not
because you're still doing the same formula. Like, I mean, every boss has one formula, and you're doing it, but you're just trying to do it with multiple units.
Yeah.
I'm saying more like, give me bosses with different formulas that I have to use different units for. Kind of. That's more of the thing. Like, oh, this boss you can't cover tank, you can't provoke tank, so you need to bring your tankiest units. Oh, interesting. I have a couple of tanky units. I have a couple of tanky damage dealers, etc. Right? Like stuff like that. Give me stuff that forces me to use different units.
Yeah.
I guess the thing with that is there's still only sort of so many different things units like can do, and the moment you have someone who is a direct upgrade over someone else,
Yeah.
they are very unlikely to be used
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean, Gumi's design is also very rarely.
And it's hard to give
Yeah,
everyone
I
a
mean,
niche.
and it's very rarely that they aim for a niche. Usually, I mean, due to the nature of the gacha as well, they aim for units that are quite general, right, or at least cover multiple things. And I guess that kind of
Yeah.
stops it a bit, of course. Like, yeah,
It's honestly surprising to me how cautious Alum and Gumi seem to be about adding new mechanics, like whether it's new boss mechanics
Yeah.
or new.
But I thought
unit
someone said,
mechanics.
I think someone said that, like, or I don't know how legit this is, but someone said that, like, the original coder on at Alem kind of left the company, and that it's like the code base is a bit messy, so it's not super
I'm
easy.
sure that's the case, but even so, like even when they do add things, they feel half baked or like they didn't really have any idea there. Like look at Zombie. Zombie is a debuff that just like it clearly they clearly want it to be something more, but functionally Zombie is just it kills whoever it's applied to. That's really all it does. It just doesn't do it right away. They could have done Doom instead. Speaking of which, Doom is a mechanic that actually exists in the game, and they used it once ever.
Doom is an interesting mechanic. That could have been like a thing where you just know when your units are gonna die and you need to adapt.
They used it for one Halloween trial, like 3 years ago, and we've never seen it since.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
some bosses kind of do like a one-turn Doom with like Mark for Death type stuff.
I do get the feeling, though, and maybe this is also an unpopular opinion, I'm full of them, but I do get the feeling that, or no, that's probably not an unpopular opinion, that they're kind of low-efforting FFBE at this point, right? Like, it's not the game they're investing all of their best people into, right? It's probably like one dude coding and one artist and something, and that's it.
Are we sure about that? Like, what if Gumi just hired more people to do War of the Visions? Like, they could have easily expanded.
No, I'm not like I'm not saying anything about if I think they went to War of the Visions or not. I'm just saying that I think it's obvious from FFBE that it's not a lot of people working on it.
Mm-hmm.
What other games does Alum even have? Like they have Brave Frontier 1 and 2. Anything else?
I don't know. I don't follow Alum in that sense. But I mean, I don't know how big Alum is either, right?
I'm Googling and I don't see anything other than those, but I assume that it would be in Japanese if it were there, so I would be able to read it.
But I mean, even if it's their only game, like even if Alum's only game right now is FFBE, I don't know, Brave Frontier is still alive-ish, right? Even then, it doesn't say much unless we know how big their team is, because if it's literally, again, like one coder doing everything...
Yeah.
And like half a designer, then yeah.
Could be they have something in development that just hasn't been announced or released yet.
Yeah, but Gumi and Alum aren't connected in that way. I mean, like Gumi is doing War of the Visions, right? So like, there's no connection between Alum and War of the Visions.
Yeah, I'm just saying that most of the content we get in FFBE comes from Alum, so I would look more at them for how much work is going into the game.
I mean, War of the Visions is like, I mean, that's Gumi deciding to do that instead of whatever they were doing before War of the Visions. I don't even know what their other games were.
Yeah, I think you have a combination here of not a lot of effort being put into it because it is, and in JP's case, almost 5 years now that they've been doing it. So the game has kind of run its course, and we have so many things that we're just used to doing. And we have so many people that are just used to logging in and doing stuff because of habit that I feel like you're not going to get a lot of new resources put into it. And they're short-staffed. I mean, we've been told that many times. And
on the Gumi
side
side
hasn't helped the situation. Yeah. So Gumi, who could possibly be doing some new stuff, really doesn't have the capability to do so at this point.
Yeah, and besides, maybe they are investing, as Shadow said, very heavily into War of the Visions on their end. So they might not like dedicate the GL EX resources anymore to FFB. And to be honest, I'm kind of hoping that Alum is just working on an FFB too. I am, because like, they can actually start adding all of these mechanics that we talked about and doing innovation. Although I don't know, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, they need to do something that they've tried with NV with some success, but I know a lot of other players that just, I don't know, it's just kind of getting old. And I think the units for me, it's the units that have been so rehashed so many times, and then we've got third versions of the same fights. As you guys have just spent the last 20 minutes talking about, there are plenty of ideas that could be implemented to make the game feel fresh in a mechanic sense. But this is the cycle of games. It's a cycle of games that are pushing out new content every week, as Gumi has been doing for FFBE, and Alum does every 10 days in JP. You're just going to run out of stuff at some point. You're going to have to regurgitate stuff at some point. And we've been in the regurgitation stage for quite a while at this point. And I just don't see it ultimately getting better in that sense. You can still enjoy the game. You can still have a lot of fun with it if you enjoy that kind of stuff. But as far as new and fresh ideas, I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of them from here on out.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Like, look at MMOs instead. MMOs are the experts at regurgitate. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. Like, too many.
Regurgitating.
Regurgitating. Okay, regurgitating. Like, they are the experts at that, right? They keep giving, like, it's similar mechanics, but they keep things fresh in a way that still keeps the game interesting, right? Where we're not really succeeding here because, again, we're getting trials that are blown away by one unit or trivialized by the units we have. We have, like, what the fuck, Daisy and Fina, right? Coming, and they also trivialize a ton of stuff, and it's like, I don't know. It's not that it's impossible. They could add trials that are challenging with the units we have. It's just that they choose not to.
I mean, part of the problem with that is whenever they do, people complain. Loudly.
I don't complain. I mean, Reddit does, but fuck Reddit.
Maybe you didn't, but like when Igon came out, when Rumble of Marlborough came out, there was a lot of people very angry about how hard the trials were.
But that's so dumb.
I liked it, or at least I liked it in hindsight. I think Rumble of Marlborough probably should have waited a month.
You know what they should do? And I know this has been said so many times. But whenever they release a trial, they should release an extreme version of that trial that's like only doable with some heavy fucking optimization, and the only reward for that is a nice and shiny emblem. That's what they should do. That's literally all they need to do.
Isn't that what Telphusanis was basically though?
That's exactly what Telphusanis was.
And everyone loved it.
Yeah.
Everyone thought Telphusanis was really cool.
Yeah.
They should do more stuff like that.
Or
I mean, I don't mind actual rewards being behind it as well if it's permanent, because then it can be something.
Yeah, that's true too. But that's kind of the thing that people got angry about, because Aion was permanent, but people were still bitching about it because they couldn't beat it on day one, right? Which is a weird mentality.
Yeah, those people are the people that Gumi should not be listening to.
Right.
Don't listen to the people that complain that a trial is too hard to beat upon release if that trial is permanent.
Exactly.
Because who cares?
Yeah, it's actually a goal to build towards. Like, even as a veteran player, if I faced a trial that I couldn't beat, I would actually be excited about it, because I actually remember that's how it was when OG Marlborough came out. At that point in the game, I was beating every trial just like now. Like, there was no trial really troubling me. And then Marlborough came out. I could not beat that shit on day one. Or, I mean, I guess I could, because I didn't get any special units when I actually beat it. But I had to do, like, I don't know, it took me like a week and a half of tries to actually get my strategy and try different units. At one point, I was trying fucking Gilgamesh pod chaining with... Who the fuck was I pod chaining? I don't remember. I was, like, doing these super weird comps. And that was fun.
Yeah, those are the good days. I mean, I think that game should have, as you mentioned, Barros, that high EXE difficulty or no reward, or just put out permanent content that you can work towards. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and just ignore the people that are hating. Who gives a fuck about them? Like, Jesus, give them something to work towards.
Yeah, but the thing is, the only thing that we've got that's kind of like somewhat hard is DV, but it's very time limited. And it's just, like, as I said last week, a random race and, element generator every week or every month. So
I would love DV. Sorry, go ahead, Shadow.
I was just going to say, the one thing about DV is that if DV was a single player focused trial thing every week, I think it would be less stressful for some people. So, yeah, just...
And permanent, also. Like, I'm saying, like, one of the big problems for with DV, because I actually like DV. I actually like everything about DV. I just don't have the fucking time for it because I think it eats way too much of my time. So I just YOLO it nowadays. But if DV was permanent in some way, I mean, obviously it can't be in the whatever way it is now.
Like if it was, say, just open all the time, but then the rewards reset monthly.
I would say just like a chamber thing where DV would be another chamber boss, and they could, like, since DV is literally rehashes of old bosses with stats, it's easy to do. Like you could put one of these out every month, and the rewards could be there, like the UOC ticket, the whatever, right? And but you just get to do it in your own time. So it's like, oh, I have some time this evening, so now I'm going to sit down with the builder and optimize my team to cap this score.
Yeah,
kind of.
Here's how you do it. You take your 5 battles or your 10 battles, you release it once a month, just like a Chamber of Vengeance, Chamber of anything else, and you just set rewards that you want to hit, but those rewards are gated behind a certain score that you need to achieve, right? So you still have the competitive aspect of it.
So you put everything in the milestone.
Right.
But they are not competitive anymore. They would be like something you just build up to, kind of. It's kind of like a new rank, a new level you can reach. Like you're leveling yourself up by doing these battles and reaching the rewards of these ranks. And you can do it whenever you have time. And because right now DD is just rewarding people that somehow can put in a lot of time every week.
Or a lot of resources, or both, right?
I think it's kind of both anyway, because even if you pull all the units, it doesn't always trivialize the trials, really. It's like, it's always still a time investment.
The time sink required in DV is really it's really hard to imagine for other people that don't play this game. The gearing in this game is such a dumb mess that, like, any joy of playing and optimizing for DV is sucked right out as you're spending an hour on that unit selection screen. And this is more true in NV because now you have to do it twice for Brave Shift units. So.
Yep. I thought we had nothing left to say on DV, but I was wrong.
Usually only have to gear one form.
I mean, half the time you don't gear the base form, yeah. But once, hopefully, we get like those killer filtering and stuff ASAP, because that'll help quite a bit, I think. I mean, it'll still be a pain. I don't think the gearing system we have is completely fixable. Like, that's not possible with the current game framework, but there are still steps that can be taken.
And those steps will never be taken. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
I mean, some have been taken.
I choose to hope, I choose to hope, and I choose there's an FFBE 2 on the way, because I still enjoy this game. And I want to enjoy the game again more. So, yeah.
I want to enjoy it, but I currently am not, so...
That's what she said. Boom!
Oh, boy. We get caught next week instead of Baros, right? See, there's always something to look forward to. See you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.